Devin Montgomery. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Fellow filmmaker, I'm so
Yep.
excited to have this conversation and be with you. I'm so happy and I'm doing great and I'm healthy and you look very
Yes.
healthy. You're doing looks like you're doing good.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, can't complain. Can't complain.
Yeah, your film came out last
Hmm.
week, so
Yep.
everything's going to be in the show notes. But could you just let the person tuning in know the
Hmm.
project and how they can watch it?
Yeah, so my feature film is called Monsters Within. It is a horror drama thriller, and right now it's currently on Amazon Prime and Fandango at Home. And later in November, on November 7th, for Veterans Day, we're actually going to be streaming on Screambox and also Tubi. So that'll be in November. But right now, Amazon Prime's kind of our main one that we're pushing. So yeah.
And what do people search?
Monsters Within?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Everything's going to be in the show notes for
Yep.
you to tune in. So, why did you make this film?
Yeah, so acting really is my passion, and that's kind of my main focus. But because of 2020, the nature of how that year went, and just kind of how it went for everybody, there was a real big pause, it felt like, and there was a lot of uncertainty going on. So I kind of just had this realization of, doing auditions, getting really close to some really big opportunities. But you're still kind of waiting for someone to give you this opportunity, whatever that may be. And so in no other aspect of my life do I do that. So I just kind of had this like sort of self-reflection, realization moment of why don't I sort of put things into my own hands for a little bit of the point of it, making something and just be able to act because we were just sitting around. I was with some friends who were filmmakers, and yeah, me and a friend just decided let's write a short film. We were tossing around ideas, but two things that are very important to me are veterans and stories about special needs adults or just special needs adults in general, because my sister has Down syndrome, and so I've always felt like there's just such a really strong bond that her and I have, and I've never really seen it done. I think how her and I are, and other people that I've met that have siblings with special needs. So I wanted to incorporate those two ideas just because, they say write what you know, but then also what's really important to you. And so we created a 10-minute short film. Biggest thing was about that brother-sister bond and how far the brother would go to protect his sister. Just looming around that, though, was this monster. And I kind of use that as a symbol for just all the craziness, chaos, uncertainty that was going on in 2020, but just in life in general for some people. And yeah, it was my first time really making a short film, going on the film festival journey in 2021. Saw all the reactions and whatnot, and it just really inspired me. And I just had people come up to me after screenings or even just DM me on Instagram and just say, "Hey, that was really like powerful." And again, that was like the first time really me going through that and dealing with that. So yeah, I think something just like lit a flame, and sat down one night, wrote a full feature film version of it, and then 37 film festivals around the world. And here we are now talking about the film, that feature film that got released. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
the integral part of that connectivity and that's so personal to you, I think
Hmm.
gives you such a unique, specific lens on the world when you
Right.
go and you interact with people. It's so blanketed
Hmm.
sometimes if you don't have certain education, knowledge, and experiences, or if you're not,
Right.
involved in certain communities and in areas. So, like, how do you I think you're probably just a more empathetic, compassionate human being with other people when asking questions, how you approach to ask the question, or,
Hmm.
when you're listening and you're listening to maybe understand,
Yeah.
I just think in humanity it's so important. So, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but that's just kind of
Mhm.
where I'm going with this. And then by you putting it into a film, then other people can maybe be educated on how to be more empathetic and how to
Mhm.
interact with other humans and people.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, my sister, she inspires me so much. She's my biggest inspiration. But I've learned so much from her just because she is such a, like you said, I mean, she's very empathetic, but like she's so caring to just strangers too. It's like she'll see somebody, and I think that's why 2020 was really hard for her though, because she's such a loving and wants to just give people hugs all the time. And so we kind of had to tell her like, hey, you can't do that. And I think it was hard for her to understand that at first. But then she did. They're calling it right now is regression in Down syndrome, and so her personality completely flipped back in 2021. And so that actually is what changed the story of what I originally wanted to do with the film. I had to figure out a way because no matter what, I was like, she's going to be involved. I want her to be a big part of it because she's a big part of my life. If I'm going to go on this crazy journey, I want to bring her along, but also I wanted to capture her smile in the film because her smile just changes my whole outlook some days, like if I'm having a really bad day.
Uh,
And I think luckily we made the film that we needed to, and the way that it turned out, I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. So with everything that happened, the film that we made, just the response that we've gotten, I feel like that's what needed to be out there because it's touched a lot of people, and a lot of people have responded like very emotionally to it. And so when you throw in, it's a drama, but the shell of the movie is this horror thriller film. And so it's really interesting because I think some people now aren't really expecting maybe an emotional side of the film.
yeah.
They're just kind of thinking it's like a horror thriller thing, but then it catches people off guard, which is I think kind of fascinating as well.
And then how did you approach her about the idea with
Mhm.
your visions and how and what was her response? Like how was the approach when you went to her initially?
Yeah. So when we made the short film, I explained a lot of things to her, explained the story. Um, and her favorite thing is, to watch movies. She loves musicals, but she likes to watch movies, watch plays. So she understands, the nature of like this is something that's going to go out there into the world. And, we are definitely telling a story and we're acting, but the way that people are perceiving it, we want to impact them. And so when we made the short film, it was very, very fascinating actually directing her, I guess you could say. And it maybe even in some ways she was directing me because just the way that she is, she's so responsive that whenever I talk to her, you can see her actually listening and you can see her thinking. And if I tell her to try something a certain way, like it was just so fascinating to watch her mind work. And so I just learned so much of like, oh yes, like this is because first time really directing for that short film. And so I was like, wow, this is really cool kind of being on the other side of it. But just working with her was something really special. And she's a natural. She was a pro. So I knew it was going to be easy to work with her.
Yeah.
But then yeah, I think she sees that the movie's out there. People have come and talked to her, and we've been playing at film festivals. I'm from Oklahoma, so we've been playing at a lot of the film festivals in Oklahoma too. So a lot of people there have seen her, so they've gone up to her and been like, "Hey, I saw you in the movie. You made me cry." And
Yeah.
like it's like things like that yeah, she's responding very well to it.
Yeah, because I was just at Toronto Film Festival and
Okay.
you hear about these different stories and it's very personal and it's very,
Yeah.
and there's family around it. So, I mean, what you
Hmm.
did, they would say it's so much courage and so much bravery to be able to
Hmm.
shed light on something that's so important that we should be doing, but a lot of people want to
Hmm.
hide and keep things secret and keep it numb and paralyzed and not share like not be so vulnerable. Like there's the intimacy of being vulnerable and like off my
Oh
mind, I know like two stories that would be fantastic to share, but then you're exposing
yeah.
something and you're
Yep.
calling attention to something. And it's just, so it's like, how do you, as a creative and as a human have those
Mhm.
boundaries of respect to share and tell a story, so
Right.
it's very fragile, the foundation that you built. Any
Oh yeah.
ideas or tips on your thought process of
Mm.
going into the movie this way or making a film this way for like a fellow filmmaker tuning in?
Yeah, I when I wrote the film, I definitely knew like it was going to be very vulnerable for me. And so the way that I think that I knew, especially if I decided I was going to write, direct, act. So those are just really big things for a movie right there. And so in some ways when I wrote the film, I was like, okay, if I'm directing this and we're telling this story, it might be easier in some ways the more vulnerable I am because that way I know it'll be easier for me to connect to this story, especially, with independent film, sometimes your biggest enemy is time and money, right? So it's like in a certain location that we might not be able to be there. I was just thinking ahead of how could I easily get into a mindset where I needed to maybe switch back and forth between actor and director. So I think just writing what and maybe exploring some things that are scary, there is something about that when you're actually filming and you're in the middle of a scene or you finish a scene, there is something so cathartic about it too, because I was definitely nervous like going into this movie because yeah, it's a very vulnerable film for myself, but like I just find that so scary but so exciting, and I think
Yeah.
that's the beauty of independent film. And so my biggest advice is if it scares you, that's probably a good thing, and lean into that because I think the fact that you're scared to open up that about yourself, there's somebody out in the world that's feeling that exact same thing. And so we want to connect with humans, and with this film, that's a big core of that as well. So it's like, yeah, I just had this decision of it's scary, but let's do it, you know?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it up. I'm so proud of you. And I get to say that, the person listening doesn't get to say it to you directly,
Mm,
but so proud of you. You just showed up and you did it, and
yeah.
you went
Well,
through
thank you.
it. Yeah, with your
Yeah.
intention. It's so amazing. And how do you decide which film festivals you submit to? Because there's so many of them.
Yeah, and that was another thing too. It's I know there's an option on Film Freeway where you can I forget what it's called, but it's in one of their it's like you pay for the service, but you do like a little blast of a newsletter type thing. And
It's like gold or
something,
some,
yeah,
yeah,
I think
something
that's what it
gold
is.
for like a
And
week or
so
something. Yeah.
early on, that was a good way just to kind of get news that the film was out there. But the thing with that I learned, you get messages from thousands of film festivals. So there's a lot of like preparation and looking into things and research that you need to do. But yeah, it's just
Especially with
for
on
oh
topic
yeah.
films. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
and
the
there is
genre
some
of your
ways
film.
you can like select those genres
Yeah.
and it'll weed, kind of
Yeah.
filter it out. But yeah, I think we just got really lucky with the films that you know we uh we got accepted to because they fit us perfectly. Because it is like still in this day and age when you have a small independent film, going at some of these bigger film festivals, it still really is hard to compete with some of these like big budget films with A-list names and all
Yeah.
that. But the films, a lot of the bigger size films that we or film festivals we did get into, it was interesting because I would be on a panel. They would ask me to be on a panel with other filmmakers, and a person would ask what your guys' budget was, and I'll just never forget one of the first ones I was on. People were like $1 million, $750,000, $500,000, $1 million, and then it got to me, and I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I don't know how to answer this
You're
because
like 3,000. Just
my
kidding.
my answer is going to be like shut. So I was like, how open do you guys want me to be? And they were so we made our movie for just shy of 20,000, and so,
Word.
like to be in a that's where it kind of like things were like, whoa, okay, maybe we did something here to be in a list of like other films and filmmakers on that level. I was like, this is really
That
cool.
That's it. I mean, it just shows how
Yeah,
talented you are and how like there's different currencies besides like cash money flow and that you
right.
can get it done,
Hmm.
with the right intentions and you were super specific. So, I mean,
Yeah,
that kind of takes me into like did you pay yourself as a director? Did you pay yourself as an
yeah,
actor then? You know what I mean? Like
right.
did
So
you
what we did is we kind of knew going in. I knew no matter what, I was going to make this movie and I was going to make it work however I needed to. But I found somebody along the way who I could not have made it without really. His name's Curtis Gardner. He's our executive producer, but we met in an acting class. Crazy enough, but like we both decided we had similar goals and mindsets. So basically, him and I just split a lot of the costs, and so him and I, we, and I can say that we haven't been in the red at all, which has been really special and really amazing. But yeah, him and I, we funded the film, but we budgeted it a lot, and then we also worked in where we could pay like cast and crew, and then a lot of the locations. The amazing thing about Oklahoma is it's super film friendly. So we filmed non-union, and yeah, just going to small towns in Oklahoma. I luckily had a short film that I could show them and be like, this is what we're trying to do, and there's a lot of attention going on right now in Oklahoma because it's very cheap to film here. So a lot of big movies have been coming and filming here. And yeah, it's
I'm coming. We're doing the
yeah,
next our next film together. Let's go. See
exactly.
you next week.
I'll be ready. But yeah, just all the locations were free. So it's a
Yeah.
lot of cost.
It's all about your vibe and your intention, how you communicate with people. Because I
Yep.
mean, as a producer, fellow producer, creator, filmmaker, I did things when the SAG New Media came out. I did SAG New Media.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
did defer payment on everyone. No one got
Yeah.
paid, but I
Right.
provided craft service. I got all
Yeah.
the locations for free, but everyone was in it to win it because they liked the intention, the vibe, and the message, and they wanted to be a part of
Absolutely.
something. So,
Yep.
um, yeah. And then so when you shot the short film,
Hmm.
you said it's 10 minutes, but actually how much footage did you shoot or how many minutes of footage and then you cut it down to 10 minutes?
Oh, we probably shot maybe like 25 minutes.
Hmm.
Maybe, yeah, somewhere around there.
Like
Yeah.
was that 2 days or how many days of footage?
I would say overall, it might have been like 3 days, 3 or 4 days. Yeah.
See, it's this big dream and it's like boom, just put a time on it. It's like
Exactly.
boom. It's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna give myself the week or I'm gonna give myself a week or like right now I can like hang up with you and be
Right.
like I'm gonna shoot this and I'm just gonna go around with my iPhone and I'm gonna shoot my thing. Here's
Oh,
my
yeah.
idea. Here's your short. Put it into the film festivals,
Yeah.
right? Now, and then speaking of funds, like when and you know the things that we've already mentioned, but a lot
Right.
of the allocation, a lot of the funds go towards these film festivals.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it
Hmm.
adds up fast. It adds
Hmm.
up fast for sure.
Yeah.
And luckily joining like that gold service that you mentioned, that'll save you some costs. But like, it really is just a lot of I'm a big fan of research. I'll look into a lot of stuff, research the hell out of it. But yeah, that's if you are submitting to film festivals, make sure you have a game plan and like sort of you want to give yourself a budget and maybe even just submit to ones that sound interesting to you, see how the film is, received, and then kind of just like it really is like a chess game. It really is.
So what's the goal? You submit to film festivals.
Hmm.
You get to the film festivals. You can't go to all of them. You
Right.
decide which
Yeah.
ones you go to. You're on. They
Yep.
invite you to panels for some.
Hmm.
You're in the film festival circuit. What's the goal? Like, what's the goal after that? You're like, okay, people know me in the film circuit world. Like, what
Right.
happens from those?
Yeah. And so what happened with us, it was kind of amazing. The first three that we got into, we started to get a little bit of momentum and a little bit of buzz around the film. And I started getting emails from like sales reps and even I guess what they're called producer reps. And they were basically saying like, hey, we would like to help you try to find distribution. And so I was like, okay, well, I decided I knew I wanted to go on like a long film festival journey just to see, what the process would be like. And the more that I went on it and talked to other filmmakers and networking and things like that, for me, it was a lot of networking and getting contacts. And, if I was in Los Angeles, really just trying to go around and talk to people, meet people, things like that. But the more that we got into film festivals, the more that sales reps started to just be like, what is this film? Like, we want to be behind this film. And so for us, that was a big goal is we ended up going with an amazing sales rep who helped us along the distribution line. So, because I was figuring out things as we were going, like, I didn't know how any of this really worked. So as I was going, I was learning. And then so yeah, once we signed with the sales rep, yeah, that's when the distribution started. And then I had to figure out which one I wanted to go with, do all those meetings. So yeah, for us, honestly, just going into it at first, it was going to be just sort of let's get our name out there, show people what we can do. Because I knew we had a small budget. I wasn't quite sure. I heard things about how you can like kind of do like a self distribution, or I've heard filmmakers do well. They'll go on kind of their own tour of like showing the movie at different theaters all around the country. So those were early ideas, but then as we got about halfway, I was like, okay, I think we can actually get this film out there in front of the world. And so yeah, the
Yeah.
goals just were like changing while we were going. I got a thumbs down.
That's hilarious. And I mean, as you're speaking, I'm like the person tuning in can relate to what you're saying. It's like we're all
Mhm.
just like in it together. Like we don't know what's gonna happen. You're just like
Figuring it
kind of
out.
in it. Like it's
Yeah.
why they're tuning in to like learn and to
Right.
understand and just to immerse, full immersion. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations. And then so Amazon Prime, like how did this
Mhm.
happen?
Yeah, so our sales rep, he submitted the film to, a bunch of distributors. I had like 5 meetings that I felt like we potentially could fit. And so I met with all those distributors, and then the one that I felt just like it is interesting too. It's like along the journey, I'm a big believer in going with your gut and whatever your
Mm,
gut's feeling, like that's
mm.
usually like there is like truth in that. So I almost knew instantly like this whole way, and it all has worked out really, really special. But yeah, I mean that's getting on Amazon Prime, Fandango, and all the other stuff that we're going to have the rest of the year. All that came from our distributor.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you
Yep.
said currently you're in Vermont because you have big
Yep.
news happening this weekend.
Yes. So our lead actress, Kendall Cavener, so she is from Vermont. We're currently in Bradford. And it's kind of cool because I'm looking out the window right now and I just see some amazing fall foliage. And I'm like, oh, this is very beautiful. But all you get to see is a blue wall if you watch it. So,
Mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm.
yeah, we're having a special kind of hometown Vermont screening because we never actually got to screen in Vermont. So yeah, her family set it up, and it's a really cool theater and a lot of people are planning on attending, so it should be special.
Chic, super chic. I've heard
Right.
wonderful things about Vermont, like the land.
Oh
I
yeah.
haven't been there yet, but I know it's
Okay.
like there's some really good people there. I know it's yeah,
Yeah.
good vibes, good
Oh
vibes.
yeah.
And you mentioned some veterans are really important too as
Yeah.
well.
Hmm.
My birthday is 11/11, by the way.
Oh, okay. Happy
Yeah,
early birthday.
thanks. And my dad too. So
Okay.
yeah, Veterans Day is definitely very important. And so what's
Absolutely.
happening on Veterans Day?
Yeah, so on November 7th, we're going to have our Screambox premiere, which, if you don't know what Screambox is, it's kind of like the horror version of Netflix. Shudder's very similar, but I feel like Screambox has really been on the rise lately. They were one of the ones that really got to when people wanted to watch those Terrifier movies when they came out. Like they really got behind those films, and they've gotten a lot of attention. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting to get our film on that, and then we'll also be on Tubi on November 7th as well. But I'm also setting up some special screenings that we're going to be doing around Oklahoma City, Tulsa, maybe Dallas, Austin as well, where because we filmed in Oklahoma and Texas, but doing some special screenings and then donating the proceeds to veteran organizations.
Oh, how
Yeah.
sweet. I love that. I love that.
Mm.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then what did you shoot on?
But what we filmed it with.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of went back and forth between FX9, FX6, and FX3. So
Mm-hmm.
we were kind of in the Sony line, but we shot on these Tokina Cinema Vista Prime lenses, and then every my friend had a vintage lens that we would use. So we kind of went back and forth between those, just because I wanted to give it a very interesting, kind of a unique but classic look in some ways. But yeah, the cinematography is something like I'm really proud of because that's another thing like that was interesting to learn because we were all of our team is basically actors, and we're all just wearing multiple hats and figuring things out. So there's a lot of just collaboration, and but there's a lot of things that weren't planned that are in the movie that just worked so perfectly, and that's where I think the truth is in those sometimes unplanned moments. So I'm proud that a lot of that is in the film.
Yeah, me too. I
Yep.
love that. I like wearing multiple hats and
Yep.
I'm like let's go, because but you need to be able to communicate your wants
Yep.
and your needs and your desires and trust in other people and
Yep.
ask for help and ask for collaboration. Say let's do this together, and
Oh yeah.
we'll make it for nothing. We'll get the locations.
Hmm.
We'll do it at my mom and dad's house. We'll do it at this house.
Yep.
We'll find the locations like make sure you have good lighting, great
Oh yeah.
audio, an amazing
Yep.
editor. But I mean, the talent's there, driven by stories. I mean,
Hmm.
you got it going on, and you're so young, and so I'm so excited to just be a part of your journey and
Well,
watch the
thank you.
growth of the success of your new film,
Yeah.
in addition to the projects you have coming in the near future.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Any last words that you want to share that you want people to know who and for anyone who's tuning in?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just if there's something you really want to do, if there's a story you really want to tell, just go out there and do it because you just don't know what's going to happen in the future. You don't know if there's going to be another pause, if you want to call it that. And so I think time is so precious, but getting stories out there that are have a lot of heart behind them, I think that's what we need right now. And so if there's something that you feel like needs to be out there in the world, there's somebody out there that either needs that or will be able to connect to that. So get out
Yeah.
there and make stuff.
Yeah, and it's like you don't have it figured out and you're having these like executive business conversations on the
Yeah.
back end and it's like, yo, I'm an actor. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah,
So it's like
exactly.
we don't have to have it all figure out.
Yeah.
Just have the idea and just, start get in action.
Yep.
Start making it happen.
Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, so like I said, everything will be in the show notes, but you want to give a shout out one more time of how people can follow you and check out
Yeah.
the project?
Yeah, so you can watch the movie on Amazon Prime right now, Monsters Within, Fandango at Home. And then if you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram. My name is Devin Montgomery, but I got two Y's on the Instagram. I'm still trying to get that one Y account, but Devin, Devin, and then Montgomery with two Y's. And the Instagram for the movie is Monsters Within Movie. And that's mainly where we've been posting a lot of our stuff. So yeah,
Wonderful, wonderful. Devin Montgomery, the one and only. See Monsters Within right now. And we'll see you next time. And make sure you share this with one person. And thank you so much for tuning in.
yeah, thank you.